small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
And welcome to another episode of Rankin. It's going to be a fun one today. We're going to be talking about Brendan Gleeson movies, which definitely should be an interesting list. Also, going from Ray Fiennes to Brendan Gleeson is funny in some ways because they're both very similar with the franchises they've been. But got a great panel here. I've got Dan here. Dan, how's it going?
Pretty good. I've been watching Brendan Gleeson movies for quite a while. A lot of TV shows that people haven't seen that he's in, but that doesn't count for this, so that doesn't.
But also here we've got Steve Mason. Steve, how's it going?
It's going very good. I'm coming off of a very successful weekend. My video about Captain O'Hara has been blowing up IG. It's in the 100,000s, and I'm very excited to talk about another great actor who I've been a very fond work ever since seeing him in 28 Days Later. So I'm very excited to talk about this gentleman because he's one of the most talented, probably best actors around.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got a real wide range of roles for sure. But how Rankin works, we each go around in a panel discussion and nominate a movie that we think belongs on the top 12 list. If it gets a majority of yeses, which in this case it just needs like 2 years, the person nominating and another yes, then it will make the list. And then at the end of the episode, we'll rank the 12 that makes the short list and create a combined top 12 list based on this panel. But with that, Dan, we're going to go to you first. What is the first movie you're going to bring up?
My number one movie from a couple years ago that I absolutely loved, movie starring Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, where they live on an island. They were best friends, and one day Brendan Gleeson's character decides he doesn't want to be best friends with Colin Farrell anymore. And that is The Banshees of Inisherin. It's such an amazing movie, a gorgeous movie. It's really interesting regarding Brendan Gleeson because he starts cutting his fingers off because Colin Farrell won't let him leave him alone. It's just fascinating about society and how people they're friends and one day they don't want to be friends anymore, and interesting how society works that way and people get sick of other people, you know.
But Steve, what do you say about the Banshees of Inisherin?
Oh yeah, Banshees of Inisherin deserves to be on here. I think this is probably one of his best movies he has done. I mean, he got nominated for an Oscar. It's not only that, Colin Farrell got nominated. The beautiful Carrie Condon, Barry Keoghan, basically one of the few movies in recent years where all the main cast have got nominated for an Oscars. Because not a lot of movies usually get that honor to get best leading, best supporting, best lead actress, best supporting actor, and all that stuff. It's really awesome. I think this is definitely a really I feel it's kind of feels like more of a fable or of a fairy tale going on. It has that feeling of trying to figure out what's the thing where you learn where you learn a lesson. I feel like that's it's kind of a morale story. Morality tale. Thank you, Dan. I was looking for that. I really enjoyed for what it was, and this definitely deserves to be on here for sure.
I actually just finished giving it a rewatch because it's been a while since I've seen it, so I wanted to refresh myself, and also I just wanted an excuse to rewatch it because I love Banshees of Inisherin. I think it's fantastic, and it's one of those ones there's definitely a lot of these Irish stories. There's a few others I do like Making Ned Divine and stuff like that, where it's a very subtle and just really most people may just see it as a bland, talky movie, but there's still a lot in it as well, and it's just, I think it's just really entertaining. And yeah, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go yes for Banshees in Inisherin as well. But Steve, what is the first movie you're going to bring up?
So I mean, the way I approach this list, I know we're gonna get off some of the heavy hitters for this list, but like I want to like put out there some of the movies that are very underseen from Brendan Gleeson that hopefully one of you guys have watched it. So I'm crossing my fingers on this one. So the first one would be, it's called The Guard. It's directed by John Michael McDonnell, Martin McDonnell's brother. And it's about a small town Irish cop who teams with an FBI agent played by Don Cheadle to take down a drug trafficking ring. This is basically all the makings of a buddy cop movie. It's hilarious. It's crass. It's just everything. I feel like this Banshees, this movie, and another movie that I'm going to talk about later feels like an Ireland trilogy that fills out that's been penned by the McDonnell brothers. So again, I'm hoping that everybody somebody has seen it on this thing. Not only does it have Don Cheadle, it also has Liam Cunningham from Game of Thrones, Mark Strong, and Rory Keenan from Men. So yeah, I'm gonna pitch my thing for The Guard.
Yeah, I haven't seen this movie. I only sort of heard about it for this when I was sort of looking it up. But funny enough, he was nominated for a Golden Globe for his role in this movie. But yeah, I just haven't seen it. But Dan, what have you seen? The Guard?
Well, Steve, unfortunate. No, I have seen The Guard, Steve, and I love The Guard. I can't believe you brought The Guard up.
Let's go, baby.
I have The Guard on my list. Steve. This is a fantastic film. I was glad you brought it up. I was like, oh my God, Steve's bringing up The Guard already. I have it lower on my list because I figured nobody would bring it up. I figured it'd be one of the last things I brought up. But yeah, I do like this. These are the kind of movies that I really like with Brendan Gleeson, where he really can show how good of an actor he is. So, yep, I'm voting yes for The Guard.
Yeah, baby, let's go.
That The Guard is going to make the list. And it's on to me. No, I'm probably going to follow suit here actually, and bring up a lesser known Gleeson first. And I'm going to bring up a movie called Calvary.
Oh yeah.
But and yeah, this is one that I watched. Would have been about like 2014. And I think it's just a fantastic movie. It's also directed by John Michael McDonough as well. Yeah. But yeah, it's another one of those kind of movies which is in a way like I kind of see it as a very similar to Banshees, in which it's kind of one of those sort of subtly plot thing. But I think it's one of those movies I think is really good, and like it's definitely one of those ones that about the Catholicism and that and think, and it's just one of those ones I think it's just like a good movie. I just think it's really great, and yeah, and it's one of those ones that I think he should have been nominated for an Oscar for his role in this. But Dan, what do you say about Calvary?
Yeah, I once again, where my main man here, Steve, brought up The Guard. Now you're bringing up Calvary, and that's another one of these movies that a lot of people haven't heard of, but I really liked it quite a bit. I mean, it's he's a priest in Ireland, and he's kind of dealing with some interesting things, and there's a mystery going on and stuff like that. And these are the kind of movies you really get to see what a great actor Brendan Gleeson is. He really knows how to just like straightforward kind of like humor, like he can be funny without making it like slapsticky and stuff. But he does a great job with, he's in a tough spot in this movie, but I think that these are the movies that people need to see that I'm sure a lot of people haven't seen. So I'm glad you brought it up, Malcolm.
I'm guessing there was a yes then.
Yeah.
But Steve, what do you say about Calvary?
If you didn't bring it up, Malcolm, I was definitely going to bring up Calvary for sure. This movie it's beautiful. It's not only it's a very again it's a morality tale too. I feel like this is also a morality tale as well. And it had all it feels like you were mentioning this was like a pre-Banshees type of movie. This has all the makings of a cast of characters, with a great cast. Everybody's doing an interesting. It has doing their interesting part about it, and not only that, now Brendan Gleeson delivering, I think, one of his best. I would probably say maybe I think his second best performance, maybe third, definitely top three for sure. But it also has Chris O'Dowd, Kelly Riley, Aidan Gillian, Dylan Moran, Emmett Walsh, and his son Domhnall Gleeson, who's playing a cannibal prisoner. So like this is just a very cool set of it's just a very interesting, very dark movie, and I love for what it was going for, and it's just something different compared to what I've seen these types of movies before, with a story you can't really predict and can't see where it's coming. It kind of tells you at the beginning what it's going to be about.
But with that, Dan, Calvary is going to make the list, which I'm glad, because I accidentally hit enter when I was typing it into the private chat before it didn't even officially made the list. But Dan, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
I'm gonna talk about another movie that's a team up movie with him and Colin Farrell, and that's In Bruges, where they play hitmen, and they work for this guy, and I don't know if Ralph Fiennes is in it, and they have to go to Bruges to put out a hit on this guy, and one of them gets kind of like cold feet, doesn't necessarily want to do the hit. And then they have the two of them, though, have great banter together. Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell. I mean, they're just amazing in this movie. And that's why when the Banshees came out, I was like, oh man, I can't wait for this, because I loved them both in Bruges, And it's Martin McDonagh. Well, this is In Bruges isn't Martin McDonagh.
Yeah, it is Martin McDonagh. It is.
Oh, it is. Okay, it is Martin McDonagh. All right, then my bad. So yeah, In Bruges.
Steve, what do you say about In Bruges?
This is my number one. In Bruges, it's funny, it's violent, it's a great buddy movie. I mean, not a buddy cop movie, buddy hitman type of movie, and it has a great cast going for it too. Like Dan says, not only is Colin Farrell in it, it's also Ray Fiennes. It also has Clemens Posey is in it too, and just it's just like the script. It's very good. Oh shit! Wow.
Tape didn't stay up on that.
Still rolling. Still rolling.
Yeah. Okay. It's plastic. It's plastic, so it's fine.
Oh, look, thank God you're okay. It's crude, and the script is very, very, very witty and very, very quotable too. Even though some of the most vulgar exchange can't be really said to quote to other people out loud in public. Otherwise, you'd probably be getting dirty looks from other people. But yes, In Bruges definitely deserves to be on here.
Someone out there is mad that Dan brought up In Bruges. They tried to take him out.
Well, this fell down in the middle of the night.
Yes,
and
I know.
I'm going to put it back up and see if it stays. And of course, right in the middle of the recording, it falls on me.
But yeah, no. I said it last week when we talked about this with Ray Fiennes. I love In Bruges. I think it's good. If you want to hear more of my opinions about In Bruges, watch last week's episode. Unfortunately, Colin Farrell did not win the poll, so you're not going to get the trilogy of In Bruges next week.
Oh no!
Man.
But that In Bruges is going to make the list. And yeah, Steve, we go back to you for your next nomination.
All right, I am gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow is probably in the most recent years. Is this movie and Looper? I'm trying to think in terms of any other original maybe Ex Machina. I think those for me are the three trifecta in the 2010s of the three best original sci-fi movies. Even though technically Edge of Tomorrow is an adaptation of All You Need Is Kill from a manga series. So, whatever, how you ever want to count it. But this is directed by Doug Liman, and it's about an officer who runs publicity for the army who ends up being enlisted involuntarily by his colonel, and then he gets dumped in this alien goo that causes him to repeat the same series of events over and over and over again until he can find out how he can take down the alien race. And he also enlists the help of the very lovely and beautiful Emily Blunt. Brendan Gleeson is the general who sends Tom Cruise on the mission that will cause him to repeat time after time after time after time, getting killed after killed after killed after killed. And not only does it have Emily Blunt and Brendan Gleeson, it has the late great Bill Paxton in one of his last great roles before he passed. This is an action-packed movie. You definitely don't see where some of the kills are going to come from. But yeah, I definitely think this belongs on the list. Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Edge Tomorrow is great. And yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. If I had time, I probably would have got around to actually giving it this rewatch. But I do remember really loving it, and I do think Brendan Gleeson is great in it. So Edge of Tomorrow is going to yes from me. Dan, what do you say about Edge of Tomorrow?
Yeah, the first time you see Brendan Gleeson in the movie, you're like, all right, this is kind of a funny scene with him and stuff, and Tom Cruise. And it's like, okay, that's basically it. You see the same scene. And it's like, okay, you're going to use Brendan Gleeson for this scene, and then basically Tom Cruise basically repeat the movie over and over again with Emily Blunt, and you see Bill Paxton more. But I would say no for that, because I think this is a kind of in a way that it's funny the first time you see that particular scene, but then it's kind of a waste. He's wasted the rest of the movie, in my opinion. So I'll say no, but it doesn't matter. You guys already voted it in, so that's all that matters.
Edge Tomorrow is going to make the list, and it comes back around to me. And I'm going to bring up one of his franchises now, and I'm going to bring up Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I think, once again, this kind of shows his range. In the Banshees, Calvin, that he's a more a subtle kind of performer. Goblet of Fire shows like a different side of him. It shows him being sort of being this professor who is also not who he's supposed to be as well, because he's basically David Tennant playing Brendan Gleeson playing Matt Moody, essentially, and I think that's that takes a lot to it's just really fun. And I think he's great at Matt Moody, and I think and it's one of those ones while this may not necessarily be my favorite Harry Potter that Brendan Gleeson is in, this is the one that he's in the most, and that it shows the full range of it. Most of the other ones, he sort of shows up for the first half an hour, and so then he's not in the rest of the movie. But I think if you're going to get at least one Harry Potter on here, I think Goblet of Fire is the one that should be here. And yeah, but Dan, what do you say about Goblet of Fire?
Yeah, this is going to be my next pick, actually, Malcolm. I think you're right, though. I mean, it's Brendan Gleeson playing David Tennant, playing Brendan Gleeson, basically, but it's still Brendan Gleeson playing Man Eye Moody for most of the movie, and he's kind of cool. As when I was thinking about who they, you read the book and you think who could play these characters, and when I heard they had Brendan Gleeson, I wasn't exactly through the moon about it. But then when I saw him and he was playing the character, I was like, oh wow, he's pretty cool as this character, as the professor with the curses, teaching the kids the curses and stuff like that. Yeah, so I think this is exactly what you said. This is the biggest role of all the Harry Potter movies that he's in Goblet. So this is the one we should probably put on the list if we're going to put any on the list.
And Steve, what do you say about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire?
I mean, I don't. You guys really much summed it up. I mean, he's basically the latest defense against dark arts teacher, because that fucking position just keep rotating every fucking year. I mean, last year had David Thewlis, and the next year you would have Imelda Staunton in that following year. So like, yeah, he played a great, like, because I think up until the point I've only seen him in like. I've only seen him like maybe 28 days later, and I didn't really see anything other than him until I saw this movie. And for him to be like to look at him in a different light, when he's like all very straight laced, and this one he's just kind of like goofy, and like you said, he's a character playing another character. So I love the interesting take on that. And this is also the movie where we. You brought this up last week. We're gonna bring it up again. Ray Fiennes makes not this movie, but this is the introduction to Ray Fiennes as Voldemort. Yeah. But you mentioned it was the following one, but
at the end of it, yeah,
which is just Ray Fiennes just eating the scenery. Just loved it. Yes, this definitely deserves to be here.
That Goblet of Fire is going to make the list, and we're going to go back to Dan.
Yeah, Steve, you brought this movie up a couple times already, and because Malcolm took my pick of Goblet of Fire, I figured I might as well bring 28 Days Later. He plays a guy who's a survivalist. He's surviving the virus that's taken over London and England and stuff, and he's got a helper with him. I forget. It's Naomi Harris, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they live in an apartment, and they got it all secured, and this and that. And Cillian Murphy stumbles upon them, and they, like good people, they take him in, and eventually, crap happens. But he's fantastic in this. I mean, he is fantastic in this movie, Brendan Gleeson. So I was making sure that we had this on the list.
Steve, what do you say about 28 Days Later?
Dan, once again, Dan got my pick there. Yeah, that would have been my next mention. 28 Days Later is basically a new take on the zombie movie. Instead of being a zombie, they don't use the word zombie, they use the rage virus.
Yeah,
great introduction. Of course, you're going to have stupid humans want to unleash the monkeys. Another, like, just remind me of the latest movie that I saw recently, Primate. The Primate just gave me 28 Days Later vibes from the beginning of the scene. But like, yeah, Brendan Gleeson, I think one of the best parts of I think one of the best things about his acting was when the drop of blood falls down from the crow and it just hits his eye, and he knows that the shit has hit the fan, and he's like, he knows he's about to transform, so he has to tell his daughter to get away from him in a very heartbreaking scene that also kind of recalls another movie that kind of feels like that too, Train to Busan. So like, a lot of these movies kind of have connections. So yeah, I mean, 28 Days Later is having a field day. We got 28 Years Later came out last year. We have The Bone Temple that came out a couple weeks ago, which it was fucking awesome. But I'm going on a tangent. Yeah, 28 Days Later deserves to be on here.
Yeah, I love 28 Days Later, and it's just one of those ones that I just haven't. One of these days, before when I eventually get around to seeing 28 Years Later, I might do it, like watch the other three, rewatch the other ones first. But it's been a while since I've seen 28 Days Later. I do remember liking it. But I will also admit, it was also when it came up, when I was looking at Brendan Gleeson, I actually struggled to remember him in the movie personally. So I would have just gone a slight no, but it's going to make the list regardless of what I say. So, but 28 Days Later is going to make the list. And it's back to Steve.
So I'm gonna pick Paddington 2. Everybody before I watched this movie, everybody was talking about, you guys see Paddington 2, you guys see Paddington 2. This is a great movie. This is a great kids movie. Hugh Grant is in it, Brendan Gleeson in it. They're both great. And I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. I was a decent fan of the first Paddington. I liked Nicole Kidman as the villain in the first one, so I was like, okay, I like the first one. This movie excelled beyond my expectations. This was great. This was fun. This was hilarious. Hugh Grant at his most Hugh Grantness. I mean, this was probably one of the first movies where he kind of made a little bit of a resurgence here. So this kind of put him in a trajectory, because then he went on to do The Gentleman, and he went on to do Dungeons and Dragons, Heretic. So this kind of kickstart the role of Hugh Grant, and Brendan Gleeson as Paddington's fellow prisoner, who's the cook. Just makes a great foil with Paddington. I think he's just the complete opposite of who he is. Very grumpy, very doesn't want to be even associated with the bear. Paddington 2 was really fun. I really enjoyed for what it was. It really surprised me. So Paddington 2 deserves to be on here.
Yeah, Paddington 2 is great, no matter what some people would say. But look, if Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal really like a movie, then it's great. But Paddington 2, I think it's basically a warm hug of a movie. Like it's good. It's just one of those ones where it's like, just to show Paddington's influence on the prison, just so like how his kindness can bring light to everyone, and like it in a way, is like him and Brendan Gleeson became friends afterwards, like, and just the scene where it's like where Brendan Gleeson was just going back to save Paddington, as like, it's just one of those ones that definitely showed like how much Paddington had on his life. So it's an easy yes for me. Dan, what do you say about Paddington 2?
Yeah, I have Paddington 2 on the list. Yeah, this is a fun movie. These movies are fantastic. These are the kind of movies we need more of, and with the world we live in nowadays, these are the kind of movies that you can really enjoy and take your mind off of all the struggles in the world. Yeah, I had this on the list.
But Paddington 2 is going to make the list. So 4 spots left, and I'm going to bring up a movie that I thought for sure is going to be one of the early ones that came up, and that is 95's Braveheart. This is another one that I actually gave a bit of a rewatch this week, just because I haven't seen it on. It's and when I first saw it, I wasn't as high on it as other people are, but I did get a bit more joy out of it on this rewatch. I think it's a really sort of great like Scottish epic and all that. I think it's just a really good story about this, and I think like Mel Gibson, like, is one of those ones, like, say what you want about Mel Gibson. I think he's still a great actor, and he's still really good as William Wallace, and just and it's just, yeah. So I don't know how this is gonna go, but I'll bring up Braveheart. Dan, what do you say about Braveheart?
Yeah, I was on a sword and sandals and madness the other night, and we're talking about sword and sandals movies, and Braveheart obviously is on there, and we talked about in recent rewatches, Malcolm, it really hasn't stood up as a movie for me. I haven't liked it as much as I used to like it years and years ago. It's a 30-year-old movie, you know what I mean? But Brendan Gleeson as the sidekick to William Wallace. Mel Gibson, I thought did a good job. I thought he was really good in the movie as Mel Gibson's sidekick and stuff. The movie as a whole has some stuff to be desired in it after rewatches, but I thought he did a great job. I was going to bring up Braveheart next anyway, Malcolm. I'm glad you brought it up. Oh yeah, I'll say yes. Braveheart should be on here for Brendan Gleeson.
But Steve, what do you say about Braveheart?
Yeah, like you said, like despite Mel Gibson's issue, all this stuff with Mel Gibson. I mean, he did make quite a memorable movie and very epic movie at that. And it is Braveheart. It's probably his best movie he's ever directed, in my opinion. But yeah, Brendan Gleeson as his sidekick is really great. I mean, just the fact you guys, a lot of people like freedom, it's very it's very, it's very pop. It's still pop culture indoctrinated in terms of like everybody can still refer to Braveheart, even at the time when the movie got released. I mean, this movie won Best Picture, Best Director too. So, yeah, I think definitely Braveheart probably should definitely be on here.
That Braveheart is going to make the list. Dan, we go back to you next.
Yeah, since Malcolm took Braveheart, I'm going to go with another sword and sandals movie, the story of Troy. The Trojan horse, where the people they hid in the horse and then they attacked the city and stuff. And it's got like Achilles, it's got all the Agamemnon, it's got all these people. Well, Brendan Gleeson plays the father of Orlando Bloom's character, and he's really kind of a not the nicest father. He's not a nice guy, actually, and he kind of treats Orlando Bloom's character kind of bad in the movie. But as a whole, I think he's needed because he pushes Orlando Bloom's character into doing some of the things that we see later in the movie. It also has got Brad Pitt in there, what I mean? It's got Eric Bana in there and stuff like that. So this is a great movie. We're going to get a different version of the Odyssey this summer with Christopher Nolan, but we'll see how that is. But I think Troy is a fantastic movie, and I think Brendan Gleeson is playing a bad father, but pretty good at it.
But Steve, what do you say about Troy?
I'm gonna have to say no on Troy. I wasn't a big fan of Troy even when it came out in 2004. I felt this was coming on top of like building up on the momentum of adventure movies like Pirates of the Caribbean and Gladiator. And listen, despite having a really good cast, I just feel like a lot of the cast was wasted. Most of the cast was wasted. Like you got Brad Pitt doing his Achilles thing. You'd have Orlando Bloom being the boy like who falls in love with Helen and all that stuff, and like but they're right, like half at least there's good 2 to 3 people that does a great job, but everybody else, even though it's an all-star cast. I mean, you have Rose Byrne's in this movie. I know she wasn't well known at the time, but like when you have Peter O'Toole, for the fact that they have Peter O'Toole, and I felt like he was kind of wasted. He was just there because he's Peter O'Toole. I just thought it was, it wasn't a bad movie, but I think there's other movies that we should include on the list. And I don't think this movie's a little like, okay, so I'm going to say no.
I really love Troy. I think it's fantastic. And just to correct you, Dan, Troy is not based on the Odyssey. It's based on the Iliad, which is the prequel to the Odyssey, so to speak. So, but yeah, I think it's one of those movies that I've always loved. Interesting, and it's crazy to think it was written by one half of the people that created Game of Thrones. As it was David Benioff that wrote the script, was Troy, and yeah, it's just and I think. But then this is another movie that I've been intending to rewatch at some stage. But I do remember Brendan Gleeson being good in it. So so I'm good. It's an easy yes for me for Troy. But Steve, we've got 2 spots left. What is your next pick?
My next pick is Gangs of New York. I gotta put in Mark. I'm a big fan of Martin Scorsese, and even though it's not the strongest movie in his filmography, I still think it's a great, strong effort. Gangs of New York. I mean, you have Leonardo DiCaprio, Daniel Day-Lewis, in probably one of his best roles as Bill the Butcher, and you also have a good cast too. You have a Jim Broadbent, you have John C. Reilly, you have Henry Thomas, Liam Neeson as Leonard Amsterdam's father. Great beginning start of the movie off, and then you have Brendan Gleeson as a guy who is pitched by Amsterdam to run for mayor, I believe, if I can recall. And Brendan Gleeson does a great job for what it was, and also has Stephen Graham, the Emmy Award-winning, Golden Globe-winning Stephen Graham as Shang. So I really enjoy this movie. It's very memorable, very violent, and it's a very interesting take on the history of New York that I believe should be on this list. So yes, Gangs of New York.
Yeah, I like Gangs of New York. I'm not over the moon about it either. I think it's just fine. Just because there's a few other movies that I think should be on the list more than Gangs of New York, I'm gonna give a slight no. But Dan, what do you say about Gangs of New York?
Yeah, this is going to be the next one. If I had an opportunity to bring something up, this is going to be it, Steve. I'm glad you brought it up. I'm a massive Martin Scorsese fan, and I surprisingly he tried to get this movie made for years, and it was all about funding and whatnot. I mean, he went and built the whole 5 Points. He built it in Italy. It's all sets that he built, and he did the whole movie on those sets in Italy and stuff. And so it kind of looks really real when you look at it. And then that all-star cast. I mean, Brendan Gleeson's fantastic in it with all those other guys that are in it. It's just ridiculous how many great people are in that cast. Yeah, so I would have definitely had Gangs of New York on this list.
But with that, Gangs of New York is going to make the list regardless. We've got one spot left. It's on me. You know what? I'm going to bring up something really fun, and it is going to be the Smurfs 2. Just kidding. Didn't have the reaction I wanted, but I thought people would go. But yeah. No, I am still bringing up something really fun though, and I'm bringing up Lake Placid. Look, I think Brendan Gleeson is great as a sheriff in this. I think it's a really fun animal attack movie. And it's very different to stuff he's done before. And it's just one of those ones but it shows off like his fun movie like side of things, and in that I think he's really good in it. I will always go back and rewatch Lake Placid every now and then. Yeah, I think it's just entertaining. I don't know how this is going to go, but we'll see what happens. Dan, what do you say about Lake Placid?
Yeah, I don't go back and watch Lake Placid. I mean, look, sure, Betty White, okay, fine. She's feeding a giant gator in her lake. Okay, funny. That's an interesting concept. I'm not a big fan of the movie. I think it's kind of goofy. It's part of that goofy 90s kind of horror action stuff that they did in the 90s. And I don't think it stands up that well. So I would say no for Lake Placid.
Steve, what do you say about Lake Placid?
Nope. Same reason Dan says.
But Dan, what is your next nomination?
Mine is another Orlando Bloom movie, but this time it's about the British and the Crusades and all this kind of stuff. And Brendan Gleeson's in here as well. I mean, he's in a lot of these period piece kind of movies, and this one's Ridley Scott. I say the director's cut, if anybody hasn't seen it, it's fantastic in both versions, the original and the director's cut are on Fandango at home if you haven't seen them. And yeah, this is a epic of all epics, and Brendan Gleeson is great in it. And so I'm going to say Kingdom of Heaven.
Steve, what do you say about Kingdom of Heaven?
Again, I'm going to have to agree with like how I agree with Lake Placid. I'm going to have to agree with Kingdom of Heaven. I agree with with what Dan says. It's like, the director's cut is the much superior cut, even though it's pretty good watching it in theaters, but it was very lacking, and I didn't really have the full vision when the theatrical version came up. But when the directors come by, you have more of Edward Norton, you have more story to the beginning, and instead it felt less chopped up than what the theatrical version was. Now, is this really Scott's best movie? No, it's not. Obviously, it's a strong effort. It's a decent to good movie, but that says a lot in terms of where directors being the director cut being better than theatrical version, which has been most of the case for Ridley Scott's movies. If you know what I mean, if you know, you know. But yes, I'm gonna have to say I agree. Kingdom of Heaven should be on here.
Yeah, and similar to what I said about Gangs of New York is I like Kingdom of Heaven. I'm just not that high on it. I've given it a few rewatches. Like it's a good movie. I don't hate it. But it's also one of those like it's also just fine. But yeah, but Kingdom of Heaven is still going to make the list, and that's going to close off the list. Yeah, just to recap what we've got on our list, we've got the Banshees of Inisherin, the Guard, Calvary in Bruges, Edge of Tomorrow, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, 28 Days Later, Paddington 2, Braveheart, Troy, Gangs of New York, and Kingdom of Heaven. Steve, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Honestly, the only one that I wanted to mention that we didn't get off to because Troy stole the spotlight. I wanted to mention the tragedy of Macbeth. I thought that was a very interesting take on the story of Macbeth, and I think that would have been a worthwhile addition to the list. Other than that, I'm perfectly okay with what we got.
And for me, some of the honorable mentions that I had, I really enjoyed a movie called Suffragette, starring Meryl Streep in that, and I think Brendan Gleeson is good in it. It got to a point where it was like, I'm not going to try and bring it up. I don't think many people have seen it. Like I would have brought up the Pirates animated movie. I think like it's a voice cast of all the any known British actor you could think of, but I think it's a really fun animated movie. I think it's just fun. And then the only other one I would have brought up is because I wouldn't have brought it up, but I still like it. Actually, I got two similar. I still like these movies, even though I know that quality they're probably not the greatest. But I did enjoy the movie of Assassin's Creed that they did a few years back. I think it's fun, and I think it's pretty accurate to the game, like in style. And then I'm a defender of Joker Folie à Deux, even though I know that quality it's not going to be high up anyway. But and Dan, what are some honorable mentions that you had?
Yeah, Steve brought up one I kind of regret we don't have it on the list, and that's the tragedy of Macbeth. He's fantastic in that movie. Also, I don't know if anybody's seen these cartoon saloon animated films, the Legend of the Kells and the Song of the Sea. He does some voice work in those, and those are some beautiful, beautiful animated movies, and they're from Ireland, and so he's in those. And yeah, that's basically all I had on my list.
And then someone will mention that people brought up in the chat. Stephen mentioned The Company You Keep, Safe House, Green Zone. Then Leo brought up AI, Artificial Intelligence, Mission Impossible 2. Stephen brought up Dark Blue. Then Leo brought up like The Village, Cold Mountain, Mulholland, and then Taylor Panama, and then The Heart of the Sea. But it's time to vote on how we want these to be ranked. Dan, what do you have for number 12?
Well, if I can get my pen to work, Malcolm. I'm trying to get my pen to work here. I got, I don't know if you can see Troy.
Yeah, I can see it. Steve, what do you have for 12?
Troy.
I went Gangs of New York, but Troy is going to sadly be at 12. But Steve, what do you have for 11?
Braveheart.
Gangs in New York. Dan, what do you have at 11?
Edge of Tomorrow.
But we've got a three-way tie, so we're going to go to the chat. So, Edge Tomorrow, Braveheart, or Gangs in New York. The first comment I see that has one of those three options will be the deciding one of what ends up at 11. Otherwise, I will get a reel ready. But
Comment. No comments?
no, not as yet. There's still people watching, but no. As soon as I got up the real app on my phone, a comment came up, and it is going to be Gangs in New York.
Okay, fair enough.
It should be higher. It should be high. It should be lower on the list. All right.
I get it.
Just quickly change my board. All right. For me, at 10, I've got Kingdom of Heaven. Dan, what do you have at 10?
I haven't changed mine. Mine still says Edge of Tomorrow.
And Steve?
I haven't changed mine. Braveheart.
So we've got Kingdom of Heaven, Braveheart, and Edge Tomorrow. First comment I see in the chat will decide what ends up at 10. And I know at least Stephen is watching, but Leo got him first, and it's going to be Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
But Dan, what do you have for number 9?
Well, I got Kingdom of Heaven. I can succeed, whatever that word is I'm trying to say.
Steve, what do you have for 9?
Braveheart still.
And sticking with Kingdom of Heaven.
That's okay.
Steve, what do you have for 8?
Braveheart.
Just quickly write that down. But this is probably going to be somewhat surprising for me. But Goblet of Fire.
I got Calvary. The Calvary.
Calvary. So we've got Calvary, Braveheart, and Goblet of Fire. The first comment I see will decide what ends up at 8. Got 2 comments. The first one that came up
Wow.
is 7 with Goblet of Fire.
Wow.
Come on, Steven.
I mean, I'm not too upset with that. Like, I like the other moves we have on the list higher. So.
Yeah.
But it's like, but at 7, I've got Braveheart. Dan, what do you have at 7?
I haven't changed. I got Calvary.
Steve.
You know it, baby.
Oh my God!
Braveheart is going to be at 7.
Oh, I can't believe you guys put Braveheart that low.
I mean, I will say earlier, Stephen did call you out. But just saying, it's all in good fun.
No, it's lost its luster over time.
Yeah. But
And rewatches. It's not as good over time.
But Dan, what do you have at 6?
Calvary.
Steve, what do you have at 6?
The Guard.
I'm going Calvary.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting.
I wish it was a default work banners and to have it turned the timer off. But Steve, what do you have for 5?
The Guard.
I went in Bruges. Dan, what do you have for 5?
The Guard.
Just to recap what we've got left, we've got the Banshees in Inisherin, in Bruges, 28 days later, Paddington 2. And for number 4, I'm sticking with In Bruges. Dan, what do you have for 4?
Paddington 2.
Steve.
Paddington 2.
But Paddington 2 is going to be at 4. Dan, what do you have for 3?
28 days later.
Steve.
Banshees of Inisherin.
I've got In Bruges. They got a 3-way tie. In Bruges, Banshees in Sharon, or 28 days later. The first comment I see will decide on what ends up at number 3. And the first comment that came up is from Leo, and it's going to be 28 days later.
Wow. Fair.
Which, funnily enough, makes it fitting that the top two movies we've got left is Banshees of Inisherin and In Bruges, both from Martin McDonagh.
And both set in Ireland, or featuring Irish.
Yeah. But Dan, what do you have as number 1?
Number 1, The Banshees of Inisherin.
Out of those two, which one do you have at number 1, Steve? Even though you did spoil it earlier.
In Bruges.
And I've got Banshees of Inisherin. But In Bruges is going to be number 2. And
Fair enough.
But with that, our top 12 Brendan Gleeson movies, at number 12, we've got Troy. At 11, we've got Gangs of New York. At number 10, we've got Edge Tomorrow. At 9, we've got Kingdom of Heaven. At 8, we got Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. At 7, we got Braveheart. At 6, we got Calvary. At 5, we got The Guard. At 4, we got Paddington 2. At 3, we got 28 Days Later. At 2, we got In Bruges. And number 1, we got Banshees of Inisherin. But with that brings us to the end of ranking for this week. Next week, we're going to have top 12. We're going to have top 12 Sam Raimi movies. So should be a lot of fun. And it'll be interesting too, because there could be 2 franchises that have at least all three installments end up making the list. But Dan, we can find you online.
Or you can find me under my name, Dan Skibao, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, X, Threads, Blue Sky, Letterboxd, or any variation of DP Skibao, or FromTheFourthRow.com. Also, I'm on over at Rankum. Sometimes I'm Rankum. I'm over with Malcolm on Gone with the Wind, where we talk about awards season. I'm over on the Chasing Labels Network sometimes with my buddies Stephen and Andrew, and we created a game show called Movie Mutations, where we mutate a movie. Stay tuned. My episode should be coming up pretty soon, where we mutate Rocky. Also, I'm over on the Dill Pickle Network on Best Picture. Picture This with those guys, where they reevaluate the Academy Awards year to year, and they don't do it in order, so it's kind of cool. Also, I'm over on the Movie Hero Network with Jordan and those guys over there, where we just do brackets and all kinds of stuff over there. So it's just I'm all over the place. Plus, you can find me at my own website, where I'm the owner, editor-in-chief, and head film critic of FromTheFourthRow.com, and there's all kinds of TV show reviews, movie reviews. We do awards stuff on there. It's and any movie that you're interested in, that you want to read a review about, is more than likely it's going to be over there on FromTheFourthRow.com.
And Steve, we can find you online.
You can find me at right here, the little tag right there, at the bottom of my little bit of here, right below my name, right there, a little bit right there. Mesa Media One on Facebook, Mesa Media One on YouTube, Mesa Media One on Twitter. But if you want to catch on Instagram, my like I was mentioning at the beginning of the show, my Instagram is what the kids call popping. People, it's right now. So, or if you. Long story short, I did a Catherine O'Hara tribute reel, not knowing that she was going to pass away. She passed away Friday. I'm like, okay, I still have this on my phone. Let me just post it up. 2 days later, I have 143,000 likes, 367 comments, 15,000 on the story, 12,000 reposts, 9.4 bookmarks, and 500,000 views, which is a gangbuster of a number. So, like, just because I put that video, I really never thought I'd get that amount of numbers. So hopefully, with so many followers that are following me now, I can be able to put more video up and get more eyes on my my product right now, and more eyes on other people's product as I promote their stuff, your stuff, his stuff, all the other people's stuff. Hopefully, this is a win for not just me, but for everybody involved in my close circle of social friends.
But you can find me on Take 3 Productions, hosting Rankum every week. Next week will be Sam Raimi movies, as I said. But you can also find me over on my personal channel, Malcolm's Midwest Movie, where I host Beer from the Past. Next episode will be about TNA's final resolution from December 2008. I'm hoping to eventually do it next week. I've been trying many different people to get someone on, just either timing or just doesn't work out for people. But it is what it is. It will happen eventually. But you can also sort of find me here and there on the Movie Hero Network. I'll probably be on there this week for the coming of age random movie tournament. And yeah, but until next time, that is the end of Random for this week. And we'll see you next time.